Today we are also celebrating the Pavitra Ropini Ekadashi and the beginning of the Julan Yatra. As you all know, the Julan Yatra is celebrated with a lot of enthusiasm in Vrindavan, almost as much as Janmashtami. So you can all partake in this wonderful celebration today. We have Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, 11th chapter, text number 12. And it is in the childhood pastimes of Lord Krishna. The shlok, the wordings are Saritra Tira Gatam Krishnam Bhagnarjunan Yamalarjuna Atha Ahvayat Ramam Cha Rohini Devi Kridantam Balakahe Brisham. Shlok is Saritatira Gatam Krishnam Saritatira Gatam Krishnam Bhagnam Arjunam Ahvayat Bhagna Arjunam Bhavayat Ramam Cha Rohini Devi Ramam Cha Rohini Devi Kridantam Balakay Brisham Kridantam Balakay Brisham Saritatira Gatam Krishnam Bhagna Arjunam Avivayat Ramam Cha Rohini Devi Kridantam Balakay Brisham Sarira Gatam Krishnam Arjuna Asa Mancha Rohini Devi Nitampam Balake Gusha Sarira Gatam Krishnam Bhaganam Arjuna Aryatam Ramanancha Rohini Devi Kridantam Balake Grisham. Matajis. Sarire Gatam Krishnam Bhagyam Dudapayayat Ramam Cha Rohini Devi Balaneditam. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada. Once, after the uprooting of the Yamala Arjuna trees, Rohini Devi went to call Ram and Krishna, who had both gone to the riverside and were playing with the other boys with deep attention. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Mother Yashoda was more attached to Krishna and Balram than Rohini Devi was, although Rohini Devi was a mother of Balram. Mother Yashoda sent Rohini Devi to call Ram and Krishna from their play, since it was the right time for lunch. Therefore, Rohini Devi went to call them, breaking their engagement in play. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavanscham Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Stute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayadvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayadvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Ho. So we are reading this wonderful childhood pastimes of Lord Krishna. Once upon the uprooting of the Yamala Arjuna trees, Rohini Devi went to call Ram and Krishna, who had both gone to the riverside and were playing with other boys with deep attention. So I was just going through Gopal Champu, written by Jiva Goswami. And there, our great Acharya Jiva Goswami says that Yashodamai and Rohini Mataji were cooking the midday meal for Nanda Maharaj and for the family. And they had sent the maid servants and told them that please take Krishna and Balram outside to play in the compound. But Krishna was not interested to play in the compound. Krishna was more interested to play at the bank of the Yamuna, where his friends were there. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated by Krishna himself, amongst the cheaters, I am the greatest cheat. Nobody can beat Krishna. So what he did was, according to Jiva Goswami, he fooled these two maid servants by some dubious means and diverted their attention somewhere else, and they went off in another direction. The maid servants realized that they had been fooled. Then they were searching here and there, helter-skelter, and couldn't find Krishna and Balram. At this point, having lost Krishna and Balram, they went back to Yashodamai and Rohini Mataji and said, we are surprised, but they have been lost again. Yashodamai was in the midst of just doing the final stage of cooking. So she requested her sister, Rohini Mataji, she's not the real sister, but like a sister, that you go and find Krishna and Balram and fetch them back because the lunch is ready. And they must come back here. It's already high time they have their lunch. So Rohini Mataji went, and she remembered that Krishna is very fond of the Yamuna, and he must be somewhere around there. So she went there, and lo and behold, she saw both of these children, along with so many others, playing there. As you all know, the Yamuna river is an eternal associate of Lord Krishna in the spiritual world. And her expansion, Kalindi, is one of the Patranis of Krishna, which will take place later in Dwarka Leela. So, for the pleasure of Yamuna, because as you remember, Yamuna didn't want to come down to this Mrityulok. She had actually refused to come. But Krishna said, how can my pastimes take place unless you are there? Because right from the beginning, I'll be appearing on the other side of the Yamuna. You are supposed to part ways, and then I am supposed to be carried by my father from one end to the other side of the bank of Yamuna, that is you. You have to take the form of this river. So she agreed, provided Radharani came. So Radharani also agreed. Radharani said, Govardhan should come. So Govardhan also agreed. As you know the whole story, we've done that before. So Yamuna Mataji's river, which is now seen by us, at that time it was, when Krishna was there, Yamuna was alive and was very much active. She's still active, but she changes her course and so on. But this is like the signature of Yamuna. Just as you have a signature, you sign on a check or a paper, and the ink flows. So similarly, a dark colored water is Yamuna. Yamuna is not white colored or bright colored. Ganges is more bright colored. Yamuna is dark colored by its very nature. Even her twin brother, Yamaraj, is also dark colored. If I'm not mistaken, they are both the children of the sun god, and the mother is Chaya. Chaya is the Chaya of Usha. Usha is the real wife of Viveshwan, the sun god. And Usha's Chaya was so powerful that she could even conceive. I mean, that's something remarkable. Inconceivable for us. But it's fact. Because we know that the Yamuna exists. And therefore Yamaraj must be existing. But once when she was tying the Rakhi to her brother, it is traditional that the sister can ask for a boon at the time of tying the Rakhi. So Yamaraj, in his very magnanimous mood, asked his sister, ask anything you want, I'll give you. And you know how women are. Once you give an open checkbook, that's the end of your account. And so Yamaraj asked, ask anything you want to his sister. He was in a very, very magnanimous, benevolent mood. And she said, you nor any of your Yamaduts will ever go and harass any of my devotees who wear the Tulsi Mata, Tulsi beads. Actually, three things are very permanent in Vrindavan. One is the Tulsi, because Vrinda Devi herself, that is the name Vrindavan, Tulsi. It grows very luxuriously. Anywhere you will find Tulsi leaves, Tulsi plants. Yamuna is the other feature of Vrindavan. You cannot have Vrindavan without Yamuna, you can't have Yamuna without Vrindavan. And the third is the devotees of Lord Krishna. They'll always be there. Even after Krishna, who had actually brought his own kingdom from the Golok, we'll be talking about Golok in a few minutes. From Golok, he had descended himself with all his paraphernalia, with all his associates. It was like a big king coming, and then he brings everything along in his ship, including his carpets and his furniture and his bed and his pillow and his rajai, whatever he wants, he brings it with him. So similarly, Krishna brought everything, all his favorite things to this Vrindavan. That's why Vrindavan is so important. But then the question came, did he take it away, back? So the fact of the matter is that pure devotees of Lord Krishna, Prabhupada says, I am not one, but pure devotees of Krishna can see for themselves, can experience for themselves, and associate with the paraphernalia of Krishna. There's no difference between Krishna, Krishna's holy name, Krishna's paraphernalia, Krishna's pastimes, etc. What we can do easily, and we are doing now, is associating with the pastimes of Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo viti tetvata tyaktva deham punarjanma neti maam eti so Arjuna. So, he says that the easiest way is to associate with the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Even our great acharyas like Rupa Goswami has mentioned very clearly, simply by doing these 5 things, we can go home back to Godhead. We'll shortly be discussing about going home back to Godhead. Our favorite place, right? So we'll go there in a few minutes. So first thing is to surrender to Lord Krishna. Now the question is, I went through my notes and some books. Who has given the exact point by point, step by step process of this surrender to Krishna? Everybody talks of sarva dharma parityagam, mam ekam sharanam vraja, aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshami masocha. 18.66. But the 6 divisions of surrender is given by Sanatana Goswami in Bhakti Hari Vilas, in his book Bhakti Hari Vilas. So the 6 divisions of surrender are first to accept things favorable for devotional service. The most favorable thing for devotional service is to attend actively and without going to sleep, Bhagavatam class. That is the easiest and the best way to be favorable to devotional service. Give oral reception, Prabhupada says. After that comes all the other things. But if you don't do this first step, you're not going to progress in your spiritual life. Second thing is, also equally important, reject unfavorable things. Make a list at home quietly. What are the unfavorable things which are disturbing us in our spiritual life? Make a list of that and reject all of them. Put a cross against each of them. For instance, yesterday I wanted to see this Olympics grand opening sort of thing. What happened? Somehow the TV didn't work. I said, Krishna, you are very wonderful. I missed it. I said, to hell with it. What does it mean? I saw in between in a news broadcast, there were a lot of fireworks and this and that. They burned $27 million, I believe, or pound, I forget, within a matter of 15 minutes. But what a waste of money. $27 million, it's not a cheap thing, it's not a small thing. All going up in smoke and fire. And after a few days, everybody will forget that. If that money had been used for prasadam distribution or book distribution or whatever, in devotional service, it would have been much, much better. But anyway, that's the way of the world. The third is full conviction that Krishna will give protection. You see, most of us are thinking that my life insurance will give us protection, right? But actually, life insurance doesn't give you protection. It's after your death that somebody else gets the money. So you work like a donkey all your life, and the benefit goes to someone else, who after this life you may or may not have any relation with. That's the funny part. The person whom you have married, supposing usually the policy is in favor of the wife. It's called married women's policy. So she will get everything. And then you never know. She may even remarry. Then full conviction that Krishna alone will give protection. accept Krishna as one's guardian or master. You see, we all are like Prabhupada's, no, actually Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, no? Kukur, uses the word kukur in one of his wonderful poems. Ami kukur. So, I am your dog, pet dog. Of course, recently I was shocked to read in the Times of India that one British paper, Independent, calls our Prime Minister also a poodle of someone we know in Delhi. Unfortunately. So, but we want to be not that lady's kukur. We want to be Krishna's kukur. Means we should accept Krishna as our guardian or master. Every one of us, believe me or not, will at some stage or the other have to think of somebody to protect us. Ladies find it more easy because they have by nature that nature of, I must get protected by father or by husband or by elder son, whatever, at various stages. But men usually think that they can protect themselves only. But there comes a stage where you do require protection. Even the great Shivaji Maharaj, our big warrior who was the real hero of Maharashtra and the whole of India, Shivaji Maharaj also took protection of his Kul Devi. If you go in Maharashtra to that Kul Devi, there they have got very beautiful stories they will tell you. He also took protection of Ramdev Maharaj. I went to his gufa, that cave in near the Nasik, that river, Godavari. So on the right side you can go up. And somebody took me to where Shivaji Maharaj got his initiation. And he got an instruction, his initiation was very simple. Get these Muslims out. That's all. I mean, it was his Guru Maharaj's instruction. And he did it. So, because they were actually forcibly converting everyone. So, that was objected. The fifth one is full self-surrender. You see, most of us don't want to surrender everything because we want to keep back something. We don't think that Krishna will give us full protection. We always think, thoda to rakhna chahiye apne liye. That sort of thing is there, inborn. But if you actually have full self-surrender, it's very easy. The sixth and most important is always be in full humility, humbleness. So these are the 6 divisions of surrender as stated by Sanatana Goswami. Coming back to our wonderful pastime, so Rohini Mataji goes back to Yashoda Mai and says, I'm sorry, but these boys are not listening to me. Because you punished Krishna, Krishna is afraid of you, I think it's better that you go. And I'll continue the cooking. So that's when Rohini Mataji comes and she actually, according to some of the wonderful acharyas, she knows that Krishna can only be fooled by saying one thing. And that is by saying that it's your happy birthday today. You know, any child, if you tell them it's your happy birthday, then they become very happy. And they will do whatever you want. So it was not his birthday, it was not Janmashtami. But she told, okay, it's your birthday today, you have to come home, you have to eat, you have to give cows in donation to Brahmanas. That Krishna liked. So when he was offered a higher service, that is when he left all his friends. Okay, you all go home, hum to jata hai. And then he went and told Balram, come on with me. So this is the reference to context of this shlok. One of the earliest things I personally heard from Srila Prabhupada in 1970s was something which surprised me because at that time I was following someone else in Mayavad philosophy. Prabhupada said, God never becomes God. Krishna doesn't become Krishna. You as a baby or a child or a teenager have become grown up slowly. As a child, we don't have that strength that we as a young man has got. Child does not have that knowledge, absolutely zero knowledge. A baby when it's born. But Krishna has full knowledge, full strength, the same. Whether he's a baby in the laps of Putna or whether he's fully grown up in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So that is the big difference between Krishna and us. This is one of the first things that Prabhupada taught us. That don't think Krishna can ever be equaled by or surpassed by anyone. We will always be Jivatma, he will always be God, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he said that we will always be Vibhu. Krishna will be always Vibhu, infinite, in spiritual strength, beauty, knowledge, wealth, renunciation and fame. Whereas we'll always be Anu. So this point is very important, that the childhood pastimes of Krishna are as important as the Dwarka pastimes of Krishna or any other pastimes of Krishna. Because they are at an absolute platform. And that is the meaning of this absolute platform. Being equal at all stage. Then the other thing which Prabhupada told us was that logically speaking, Lord Chaitanya says that Mayavadi Bhashya Sarvanash. By listening to any Mayavad, he was telling me rather, that don't listen to any Mayavad philosophy, because that will be Sarvanash. And he gave examples of, he gave two examples. One was of a man called Dasagriva. Now, anybody here knows who was Dasagriva? Ravan, correct. Originally, his name was not Ravan. And he was like a demi-devil. He was not a demigod. He was not a full Asura. But his, as you all know, his father was Vishrava and his mother was, demoness called Kaikeshi. So what happened was this young Ravan had half his chromosomes from his father, 24. And 24, 48, from his mother. So he was half a Rakshas because of his mother's thing. Of course, he had drunk the milk of unhuman kindness from his mother. Because normally Shakespeare says milk of human kindness, but here it's unkind because she was a Rakshasi. But what really influenced this Dasagriva is the mamas. So everything depends on association and the guru. What you associate with, man is known by the company he keeps. What you associate with, you'll gradually turn towards that. And if on top of it your teacher or guru, main teacher, spiritual master, is like what Ravan had, and I'll tell you in a minute. Ravan had two main teachers. Their name was Sumali and Prahasta. They are both mamas, mothers, brothers. And both of them were commander-in-chief of the Rakshas army. Now what does a commander-in-chief of an army want? Power, more and more territory. So what he told is, and they trained him very well, and he was extremely bright because of his father's chromosomes. He was a great Brahmana. And he was extremely strong because his mother was a Rakshasi. So this terrible combination made him a perfect Rakshas. And they knew it. So they developed this guy. And once Ravan became strong and solid Rakshas, they said, go to Lanka, it's full of gold, and capture it. Do you know what Ravan said at that time? He was not Ravan, he was still Dasagriva. He said, how can I do that? That Soneka Lanka belongs to my brother. What brother? He's half a brother. He's no good brother, Kuber. Why I'm referring it is because we are going to shortly talk about Kuber's two sons, Manigriva and Nalakuber. So this Lanka actually belonged to Kuber. It was a gift. He was the treasurer of the demigods. Now demigods were the enemies of the Asuras. So the Asuras wanted that property. This is like in the world today, you know. ये तेरा cousin का नहीं है, ये आपका ही है. You know, the relatives will always instigate. Of course, nowadays they go to court. But then, are there any lawyers? I don't know, Mahaprabhu is here or not. But anyway, the lawyers, in North India they call them liars. They can't pronounce the word lawyer. So, first time I went to North India for some work, and they said, "Tera liar kahan hai?" So I said, "What liar? I don't know liar." I mean, it's as if, you know, without, how can you go to court without a liar? Because you have to lie. So you need a liar, professional liar. Anyway, so here, these, nowadays we fight with liars, but that time they fought with chal. Chal means by illusion. So these Ravan's mamas taught him so many things, including how to fight with illusion, how to fight with armaments and so on. And he got rid of his half-brother. Half-brother because Kuber's father and Ravan's father were the same. But Ravan's mother was a demoness, whereas Kuber's mother was a yaksha lady. So that's how it was. Kuber then had these two sons. But who are these two sons? Actually, a few weeks ago, I think it was also discussed that just as we are all sitting here, do you know that the same thing will happen in Golok Vrindavan? Do you know that? In Golok Vrindavan, they are continuously having a section of Golok Vrindavan where there is continuous Krishna Katha. Now, you may think, which I thought originally, that we get bored, no? Listening to the same old thing over and over again. But that's not true. That's not true. Because Krishna knows this, that my devotees will get bored. So he continuously does some activities, Krishna's divine activities, somewhere or the other in some universe or the other. It's going on. Right now even, it's going on. Krishna is appearing somewhere, Krishna is having his Dwarka Leela somewhere, and Mathura Leela somewhere else. But here's the catch. Krishna keeps on having new type of activities. For instance, I'll tell you, for the first time I heard yesterday from an authority from Vrindavan, not in our Guru Parampara, some other Parampara, I think it's Vallabhacharya's Parampara, that Yashoda Mai was too attached to one material object. As I told you, to become fully surrendered to Krishna, she had that one little dot. And that was, she was attached to her kitchen. Mataji's, you all know that we require visa to get into your territory. The visa, the kitchen is a thing which they pride. And Yashoda Mai was no different. And what is the most important thing in the kitchen? Various things which are there. Yashoda Mai told Rohini that see this pot here? This is the most beautiful pot in the whole creation because it belonged to my mother-in-law, who in turn got it from her mother-in-law. So we've had this pot for last 3 generations. Krishna overheard that. My mother is attached to a pot. And next thing you know, the pot's gone, broken. What Krishna is doing is breaking our attachments of any material object which is not being used in his devotional service. Is that clear? Because that was being kept separate from Krishna. That pot and its content, which was the butter. It's not that Krishna doesn't have butter. He has plenty of butter anywhere he wants. He's got 100,000 Amuls factories. That is not the point. The point here is that he wanted that particular butter from that particular pot and pots, because Rohini Mataji and asked about what the other pots. Similarly, the other gopis also, senior gopis in the house, they were also attached to their things. And that is why Krishna keeps on breaking those pots. Because I have been always wondering, what is the advantage of breaking those pots? Because they are useful things, no? Yes, as long as they are used only in the service of Krishna. Otherwise, they are useless. We already covered that. The mode of surrender to Krishna is to use everything favorably in His service. The moment we separate out, then Maya comes in the picture. And Krishna doesn't want His devotees to fall in Maya. I think that's the first time, no? Any of you have heard this before? About why the pots were broken by Krishna? So this is the reason given by one of the acharyas. The very basis of sannyas is also the premise that you get liberated when you give up everything. You can be liberated in this very lifetime, Prabhupada says, if you are not attached to anything material. Whether you are in saffron clothes or you are in white clothes or whatever color clothes. It is your heart and your mind which has to be liberated. Because your soul resides in the heart. So, how to get liberated is very important. How to get mukti. Or the position of mukti is moksha. Just like you are right now sitting in this Radha Gopinath temple hall. So, you are already, technically speaking, in mukti. Because you are not attached to your house at the moment. You are not attached to anything material. And in this place, there is nothing which is material. All this is being used for Krishna's service. Moment it's used other than for Krishna's service, you fall down. So those, it is mentioned in the Shastras that even in Golok Vrindavan, where this Krishna Katha is going on, if there is some small tinge of material attachment, you say, okay, then you celebrate your material attachment and then come back. And that is how they fall down. I'll give you a worldly example. I remember when we were in college, these girls, excuse me if there are any from college girls here, they get what is called crushes. There's a wonderful young man, very handsome looking, very capable, getting high marks, coming from a rich family or whatever. And he can sing well or play some music or whatever. And these young girls, they have crush on him. Not one, many of the girls have. And that fellow is moving around like a peacock with all his finance. So, but then the parents of the girl know that this is not the ultimate husband to be. Because he is not going to be like this ever. So with a lot of thought, they try to locate a proper husband who will care for her when she's sick or old or whatever. Or when they'll take care of things. But this fellow will then go off in a tangent. So the same thing happens to us in the spiritual world also. So this is a caution given by the great acharyas that we should not have any of the old feelings within us also. The young girl, once she gets married and goes to a new house of her husband, she should not carry the feelings, oh, I would have wished I had married that fellow. I wish, it's not like these TV shows, soap operas. So that happens only in TV soap operas, that they are thinking of somebody else. But that is a very dangerous thing. So in the spiritual world, which we are here now also, we should not think of our other non-spiritual home. We should concentrate 100% on what is going on right now here. Because that is only going to help us in the long run. Otherwise it will be a fall down. And that is why even great devotees fall down. Because they have some material attachment. I know about this in many of the cases in our association also, where suddenly they had some small material attachment which grew like a boil, a bubble, The boil grows, and it's very painful and so on. So similarly that happens. So Krishna knew that my mother, Yashoda Mai, has this material attachment for these pots. That is why he was breaking these pots, that she should not have any material attachment. And once the butter is taken away from the pot, then that pot has no value and the butter is consumed. So this is one very important thing. The eternal matter of Krishna Katha I already discussed. You keep on getting new, fresh activities of Lord Krishna. So one should not think that what would I do in the spiritual world? It's the same old thing. No, it's not like that. Just like when you come here, there are different speakers and they will give you new aspects of Krishna's pastimes, isn't it? Every time we get a senior person coming over, they'll give you a wonderful new Krishna Katha. What is important is that we become like our Guru. We follow the footsteps of our Guru or Acharya. As I mentioned about Ravan, similarly about Kans. As you know, Kans's biological father was also a demon. Kans's biological father was not King Ugrasen. What had happened was that Kans's mother was a little weak-minded lady. And what happened was that, but she was extremely beautiful. Sometimes it happens, no? Very beautiful women don't have that third floor. So, the thing is that poor fellow, Ugrasen went for some work outside the city of Mathura, and this Rakshas was waiting, for a long time to have association with this wife of Ugrasen. And he took the form of Ugrasen, and he came, and his wife asked, "Oh, you just went? Why did you come back?" "Oh, I cancelled the trip." But it was not cancelled. The real Ugrasen had gone. But it was the Rakshas who came, and he told a lie, naturally. That's how Rakshasas live. And he told this lady that, I was too much attached to you and, I can't be separated from you. The usual filmy type of talk. And then I have to, therefore, immediately we should retire. So that's when Kans was born. So just like in the Ravan's case. But Kans also, because of his association, wrong association, became a first-class demon. Means first class in the sense, negative first class. So this demon was only because of this, the Putna, Agasur and Bakasur. Putna's two brothers, Agasur and Bakasur. They were also very, very great demons. So all his associates and company were only demons, demoniac. That's how Kans became. So what Radhanath Maharaj always tells us is that for heaven's sake, don't ever associate with anyone who is not a devotee. You have to have, because we are living in this world, we have to go out, everywhere. For instance, we go to a government office, we know what happens there also. Nowadays, many of them land up in jail. But the fact is that we have to deal with them just like the lotus. We should not be having any of their droppings on us or attachment. So, this is the important thing about bhakti. Devotional service teaches us how to be insulated from non-devotees. This is very important. And that can only happen if you chant the Mahamantra regularly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. I am very grateful to Giriraj Maharaj, my Shiksha Guru. Diksha Guru is Radhanath Maharaj and Shiksha Guru is Radhanath Maharaj. So just a few days ago, a couple of days ago, he sent me an email. And I'd like to read out to you this wonderful email, Radhanath Maharaj meeting Giriraj Swami. Because this is all in connection with the same topic which we are discussing. When Radhanath Maharaj was there with me, he quoted a beautiful passage from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, in which Vrindavan Das Thakur says that there are different titles in this world. In this world, there are different titles. Somebody is called a king, His Imperial Majesty so-and-so, so-and-so. Somebody is called a perfect yogi, His Holiness so-and-so, so-and-so. Or somebody is given a doctor, we have got medical doctors here and so on. Titles are given. But these titles are only for the body. Moment the body dies, that means the soul has left the body, the title also is burnt with the body or is buried with the body, whatever. And then it becomes fit for eating by worms and becomes stool. So Radhanath Maharaj says, these are not important. He's quoting Vrindavan Das Thakur. The highest title, anybody knows from this book? Huh? Das. Das is the highest title, or Dasi. Radhanath Maharaj is telling Giriraj Swami. The highest title he is telling him is Das or Dasi, which is the most exalted title anyone can have. More than a president or a prime minister of a country. Or a king. But the problem is that though the Guru gives the title to you at the time of initiation, we don't take it to our heart. That is our problem. We are still carrying the baggage of earlier titles. Actually, we have to give up all old titles. And we have to become more so Dasana Dasana Das. Because that is the title which will get us home back to Godhead. Not any material title. So the whole process of coming here, associating with devotees, eating prasadam, having deities in your house, everything is for one purpose only, and that is to associate with devotees and serve devotees. Moment you serve devotees and associate with devotees, your real life starts. Till then you are in a material life, which is of no value. The valuable life starts of spiritual life. So Radhanath Maharaj and Giriraj Swami were having a Ishtagoshti discussion. And Giriraj Maharaj was kind enough to send me the email, what our Guru Maharaj told him. Then Giriraj Maharaj is thanking Radhanath Maharaj profusely for having sent two of our very important, one god brother and one god sister. You know, this Sridhama Prabhuji and Kishori Mataji started this Mitra association, you know, and training everyone all over the world. First as Mitra, then deputy counselor, then counselor, and so on. So the counselor system, Radhanath Maharaj is introducing now all over the world. And he has sent the ambassadors. Our ambassadors are Sridhama Prabhu and Kishori Mataji. So when it was introduced to Giriraj Swami, Giriraj Maharaj was very, very spiritually happy. And he told all his disciples to associate with Sridhama Prabhu and Kishori Mataji. So this is a great service in the mood of Das and Dasi by our God brother, God sister. With love and full faith, one should worship the lotus feet of the deity. Actually, originally this was said by Lord Chaitanya himself. In fact, till that time, there was no real worship of Radha Krishna. There was separate, only Krishna. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought about the concept that we should worship Radha and Krishna together. Earlier, they were thinking that Radha resides in the mukut of Lord Krishna or at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, we must have Radha and Krishna side by side, equally. And this really gave the concept of getting Radha Rani's mercy of devotional service. So, it is mentioned, with love and full faith, one should worship the lotus feet of the deity. One should taste the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of devotees. And one should associate with the devotees who are more advanced than yourself, and one who is endowed with similar type of affection for the Lord. One should congregationally chant the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. These 5 principles are very wonderful and not difficult to understand. Even without faith in them fully, a person who is non-offensive can awaken his dormant love for Krishna simply by being a little connected with them. This is from 1.2.238 BRS. So, the Shastras make it very clear. The Gurus tell us repeatedly, associate with devotees only. And this way, any person can become a pure devotee. I think we've got still a few more minutes. So I'll just go to the next part. This is a wonderful book. I don't know if all of you have this book. It's called Bhakti Bhav, about Krishna and his associate, because we are now on that chapter where Krishna is associating with his friends. The Emotional Dynamics of a Devotee by Devamrit Swami. So Devamrit Swami writes something which all of us have to learn. And that is, he says, Bhakti Bhav, the emotional state of a real devotee. Bhakti Bhav is the emotional state of a real devotee. That means there are devotees who are not that real. So they are having a mixed thing, you see. So Bhakti Bhav is present everywhere, just as like your mobile, for instance. You just have to switch on somewhere in Bombay or anywhere in Maharashtra, and it gets connected to some tower or the other. Similarly, Bhakti Bhav is like the waves, electromagnetic waves. So it's available everywhere. It's only us, we have to tune in to that Bhakti Bhav. That is the important point. It is present everywhere, both in the material world and spiritual world. Now this is the only thing, according to the Shastra, which is common between the material world and the spiritual world. So that same Bhakti Bhav, which is there here in this hall, is also present in the spiritual world. We don't have to go specially to the spiritual world, commit suicide now, and say, no, I want to go there only. I don't have any Bhakti here, Bhakti Bhav here. No, that is rubbish. Right here you have Bhakti Bhav. The same quality, same thing, which you'll have in the spiritual world. Association of devotees. As we discussed in previous days, bold insights into the highest spiritual truths require strong evidence, praman. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kaviraj Goswami always gives it. Moreover, his pramans are always saturated with the ecstatic prema. He takes us to the pastures of Vrindavan. This is the point, because we are actually at the pastures of Vrindavan. He takes us to the pastures of Vrindavan, where Krishna's cowherd friends think they are equal to him. Why? Because they've been covered by Yogmaya. Yogmaya and Mahamaya. These are the two Mayas, right? So Mahamaya is like the reflection of Yogmaya. And so either we can be in darkness or we can be in light, one of the two. And there's a very fine line between the two. Now Jivatmas, that is us all in this hall, we, Prabhupada says, we very easily fall from one to the other. It's somewhat like going to the Juhu beach. He was walking on the Juhu beach. So he was saying, see, we are walking, now the waves, water are coming and covering our feet. And just in less than a second, the waters recede and they are on dry ground, again on the sand. So similarly, ourselves, we get covered by Yogamaya or we get covered by Mahamaya. But we'll always get covered. That is the point. Mayavadis want to get discovered. But that doesn't happen. I have gone through that process. So please avoid it. You cannot discover. You'll always be covered. Either by Maya or Yogamaya. In association of devotees, you'll get the association of Yogamaya. And automatically, the energy of Yogamaya will come to you. You will get all the siddhis also, benefits also, strengths also of Yogamaya. I have seen devotees who are in a very weak condition, still they are able to do fantastic devotional service. Why? Because they got the strength from Yogamaya. Similarly, if you are an asura, you also get a lot of strength. But that strength has come from Mahamaya. And that will always lead you to a disastrous result. So, they have no Aishwarya Gnan, no knowledge of the Lord's opulence. They are pure fraternal affection for Krishna. Sometimes they fight with Krishna and sometimes they climb on his shoulders. Still they are in dasya bhav. This is the important point. The thing is, this is the meaning of achinta bheda bheda tattva. Simultaneously one and different. At one hand, the devotees, means Krishna's friends in Vrindavan, which we are reading about in this chapter, are treating Krishna as an equal. Sometimes even jumping on his shoulder, playing with him, as if he is not God. But yet, they are doing it to please him, and therefore it is dasya bhav. A das, a true servant, will only please his master. Of course, we have these days servants in our home who don't want to please the master. But that's a different story. The master has to please the servant sometimes. Otherwise the servants run away. But the fact of the matter is, that is the poverty reflection. The true master and servant relationship is where the servant constantly is trying to please the master. And in the process, the master pleases the servant. But the first step is the servant has to start. So that's us. We have to start behaving with Krishna and his devotees in dasya bhav all the time. And automatically we get the benefit of somehow or the other they'll say, Prabhuji, you want some Mahaprasad? You know, some benefits will start coming to us. In fact, they may bring it home even. I've got devotees coming to my home getting beautiful Mahaprasad, which I had never dreamt of getting. But it came. So this is what happens. So please associate only with devotees. That is what Radhanath Maharaj keeps on telling us. And then the final thing is, the feeling of being Krishna's servant, indeed they worship the lotus feet of Krishna with the spirit of service. So the only way to worship Krishna is starting with his lotus feet in the spirit of service. It's no use sort of, showing off that we made beautiful garlands for Krishna and we are doing a lot of chandan, applying here and there. If you are not doing service to the devotees and the temple of Krishna. So please try and do service to the temple here. Even Prabhupada, as you all know, was the owner of a factory, that is a pharmaceutical factory in Allahabad. And he had a Buick car, like Cadillac car, Buick car, Mercedes car. And he used to go at 5 o'clock in the evening every day. I think it was Rup Raghunath's temple, right? That was the temple. And he would clean the floor like a ordinary janitor of the temple every day. That, he said, was cleaning my heart. So a menial service of only cleaning the floor gave the credit to Prabhupada, blessings of Lord Chaitanya to him, because that was Lord Chaitanya's temple. So this is very important. If you are asked to clean the floor of the temple, just think of Prabhupada used to clean the floor of the temple. One day I remember we were asked to clean the pots and pans after the cooking was done, and the thalis. This was in Juhu, I remember that. So initially for a moment I thought, my God, you know, there is a ghats in Bombay, just, you know, near Khandala and Lonavla. So people who live in ghats are called ghatis. So who are the ghatis in Bombay? They were doing cleaning of pots and pans. So we must become ghatis. So, but if you are Krishna's ghatis, that's the best thing. In fact, you are then going home back to Godhead by cleaning pots and pans in the temple. So one should always crave for some service. Because if you don't have service, no ticket. So you have to have that service. And you must beg for service. And moment a service is given, just see how Radhanath Maharaj focuses on that service. And he does it so meticulously and clean. And that is what has made these devotees of this temple world famous. And everybody wants devotees from this temple. For anything. Whether it's for preaching purpose or teaching purpose or whatever. So let us now all join those devotees. So that we should be always required to join devotees all over the world. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for coming and listening on this day. Are there any questions or comments? Yes, please. Have you got the mic? Prabhuji is talking about the modern scenario.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, we see right now a lot of campaigning is going on against the corruption. So what's the Sastra Chakshu to see it, and or what is the actual reason behind it?
Corruption?
Yeah, so much campaigning is going on corruption.
Campaign?
So, campaigning against the corruption.
Complaining?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Campaign is going on. Yes.
So what's the Sastra Chakshu to see it, or what's the main cause of it, what we forgot from the Vedic tradition culture to follow it, so that's why it has landed up?
Achha. See, basically, as Krishna says in the second chapter, 54th slok, attachment to material objects, sense objects, then the next stage is the person has greed, wants more and more of it. More than that is required even by him. Earlier I remember there used to be corruption, but it was petty, you see, in the 1950s and 60s, where a government official or whatever it may be would ask for some chai pani or some, mera child ke liye ye karo, iska liye ye karo, something like that. Or they would say that there is a temple near my house, please, we need to paint it. So that was all right. It's understandable. But what's happening now is 1,000 crore rupees. Now the fellow is never going to use 1,000 crore rupees or lakh crore rupees. How? And then now they are landed in jail. So these things are actually demoniac. So these things have become now a disease. They've gone to a level of like cancer, spreading disease. So there is no other way but surgery. Hare Krishna. So that is what Anna and company are doing. Because in the old days, 16 annas make 1 rupee, So there's 1 anna. He wants another 15 annas. So that is very important. But we keep chanting the holy name of the Lord. This could be how India will improve. Because Prabhupada said 10,000 years, there will be like Ramraj. So this could be the first step. Yeah. There was somebody else here? Oh, yes, of course. Hare Krishna. No, it's not on. Huh? Chalu hai?
Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Janma Karma
Chame Divyam.
So one who knows my activities, nature, he attains liberation after
death. One who
death.
knows my divine
activities and
my divine appearance
will actual liberation after death and will never return to this material
world again.
So you said in your lecture just now that even though we have some
Yes.
tinge of material thoughts,
Yes.
so we are once again subjected to repeated birth and rebirth, that is 84
No,
species
what-
and all the things.
No,
has-
I didn't say all the species. I said that even if you go to the Golok Vrindavan, but if you have you have become associated with Krishna and the devotees and everyone, just as you are here. But if even for a moment, temporarily, you think of the material world and how much you could have enjoyed there and how I miss that, then at that stage, Krishna says, if that's really what you want, go there and come back and see how bad it is. It's not that you have to go through the whole cycle of 84 lakh yonis and all that sort of thing.
subjected to like Satyalok, and then we again go to Golok.
No, you don't go to Satyalok. You go to where your mind takes you. Mind is your vehicle of your soul. You know this, I have mentioned that earlier. It's in the Shastras. When you die, physically die, mind dies, there are 9 holes in the body. Right? Mouth, the 2 eyes, the 2 ear holes, the nose, nostrils, the anus and the penis, or etc. Or even in the Brahmand here. That's the 9th place. Crack. So the soul has to go out of the body. So all the connections get disconnected because your eyes then are of no use. You can't see. But the soul has eyes and that is going away. But the soul sits on the mind. Manoratha. Ratha means, chariot. So this soul is sitting on Manoratha. And the mind will take you to where your buddhi tells you. But if the buddhi is brashta, means you have lost your intelligence, then the mind will take you wherever the mind wants to go. Right? That is what happens. When your mind is fixed in some material enjoyment of the material world, even in Golok Vrindavan, that's what the Shastras say, temporarily you will be sent down. For instance, there is a mention in, I think it's in the 11th canto, not 10th, but the next canto, about great munis, they were attached to something in the world, material world, and they felt there was a big cyclone, huge floods, and they were put into an illusion. Here also, Mother Yashoda, because she had some small element of material attachment, and she felt that Krishna had eaten mud. Okay. So she asked Krishna to open his mouth. And what did she see? Not mud. She saw the universe, she saw rivers, mountains, she saw herself, she saw Krishna also. Because she had a desire to see the mud, you see. Of course, that mud was Vrindavan mud, so it was nice mud. But still, she had that desire, no? So Krishna says, all right, that's what you want to see? I'll show you that. But then what happened? Yogamaya again came and covered her. So she forgot all about that. So that is what happens in association with Krishna. You are associating with Krishna. Krishna is not saying you go down. You are insisting on doing that. Yashoda, it doesn't matter whether Krishna eats mud or whatever he eats, because he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. But she forgot that for the moment, because Yogamaya covered her. Is that clear to you or not clear?
Is manaha
Sorry?
manaha rayate iti mantra means mantra meditation, that which gives us liberation from material
Yes,
thoughts.
man is mind, and tra comes from tarana, the short of tarana. So that is how the word mantra comes. The mind has to swim across, like in Kalisantar Upanishad is mentioned. So that mantra makes the mind go across from material world to the spiritual world. So the Mahamantra will Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Because it repeatedly 16 times, and Krishna and Rama are there, and Hare is there, that is the energy of the Lord. So we are begging, praying to the energy of the Lord, please give me service to Krishna and Balramji. You follow? That is real mantra. Other things are nakli. They are googly, as he says. Yes, please. Can you give the mic there?
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, on the similar lines, I would like to ask that Krishna also mentions that, until and unless one returns back, for example, he says that na tad bhashyate suryo na shashanko na pava yad gatva na nivartante. So he, assures that if a devotee comes back, then he would never falls down. Now here the situation is that if, within a Bhagavatam class or whatever, if we feel something that we have in our heart some attachment, so devotee comes back, for momentary also. But, how from Bhagavad Gita we are seeing that a devotee would never fall down if he goes back home, back to God.
Yeah, see, you have come here now in this temple, right? There have been instances where the devotee has never gone back home to his material world, to his material home. The fellow has come here for a Bhagavatam class and he says, I don't want, I am finished with everything now. I am going to stay here only. And he would tell somebody like Gaur Gopal Prabhuji that I am not going back to my mother's place, father's place. But 90% or I think almost 100% of you will go back to your, but then convert your home into a spiritual place. You understood? Of course, we don't mind all of you staying, but the fact is that you will go home wherever your permanent material address. But you have a permanent, eternal, spiritual address also. So that passport you have to have, that visa is being given here. Ye visa office hai. But there is a visa fee. That is, you have to chant 3.5 crore times the Maha Mantra. Kalisantar Upanishad. Are you prepared to do that? So, actually speaking, the shlok which you mentioned is that in the spiritual world, there is no need for the sun or the moon or electricity. That's what you were telling about. That Krishna says that the spiritual world is such that there is eternal light. And all the houses are made of chintamani, which reflect light only. Just like a diamond, the diamond has 58 faces. You see, any diamond, which is really polished, good diamond, quality diamond, has 58 faces, angles. You understand? Otherwise, it's not a real diamond. You can count. A real jeweler will see that, whether it's, and also then he will see the quality of the diamond. So similarly, the real spiritual world is the only reality. There is no other reality, spiritual world. These are all nakli, temporary. Is it clear? Or some doubt still in your mind, I think?
That, once a person goes back home, back to Godhead, then still, that material desire may come or not.
It may come, that's what I'm saying. That don't have that material desire. If you have material desire, finish with it here.
And
so that you don't carry that baggage with you. Okay. That's the point.
Once Prabhuji, one do not have a material desire.
Yes.
And that's the only case he will go back home, back to Godhead.
No, the thing is, you will go home back to Godhead, supposing. But when you have gone back home, back to Godhead, still you have that small little new, it's an old desire which has dormant, means thanda pad gaya hai. But then garam karega usko. Then what to do? Then Krishna says, okay, then you finish that job and come back. Okay. You follow? But why have that? It's a grave risk. That's what I'm saying. Get free of that also. Don't have those material desires. Get free from all attachments and material desires. The whole Bhagavatam is on one subject only. Who was the speaker? Sukdev Goswami. The listener,
Parikshit Maharaj.
Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj at that stage gave up all his material desires. That is why he could really listen to the Bhagavad. But if you are in this same class, different people have got different attention. Some have got some material desires. They are thinking, oh, my mobile, my this, I have to go to school or college or whatever. You see? But if you are 100%, then you will not have any diversion of mind, because it's the mind which is going to control you. And how is the mind made? How is the mind made? What is the food of the mind? The subtle substance of the food. The gross substance of the food. Supposing I'll give you an example. You drink beer. Now beer is made of hops. Okay, fermented hops. So there is a beer has got certain solid, liquid, what I would call material thing, right? Which you can weigh, vajan kar sakta hai. That becomes part of your belly, stomach, because that's where it goes. And therefore you get a big belly, beer belly. Now, the subtle portion of that beer is the one which gives you intoxication. You can't weigh that. Usko vajan nahi kar sakta hai. But you can smell it. You followed now? When a person drinks beer and you go near him, you can smell that he has had alcohol. Correct? And therefore, that subtle thing goes to a subtle body. It becomes food for the subtle body. So if you eat the wrong thing or drink the wrong thing, then your mind will become like that, no? That is what Krishna is talking in 16th, 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. You are what you eat or drink. So if you drink and eat the wrong thing and not Krishna Prasad, the subtle part of the Krishna Prasad will improve the mind and gives strength to the mind to go home back to Godhead. You understood now?
Yes, yes, that's clear.
So give up everything. Meat, fish and eggs. Do you drink alcohol? No.
No.
No meat, no fish, no eggs, right? Then you are safe.
One last point I need to ask you.
Huh?
That can we consider that a fall down, or for example, if some soul comes back,
Yeah.
Again because of that desire, so can we consider it a fall down, or it's just momentary?
No, you see, for instance, once Srila Prabhupada confided that 3 times Krishna had to ask him to come down to this earth. Do you know this, Prabhuji? Do you know? Anybody here knows? Prabhupada did not want to come to this material world. He is the commander-in-chief of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan army. That's going on. Sankirtan is going on in 1/3 of Golok Vrindavan. Golok Vrindavan is in 3 parts. One is Dwarka Leela is going on somewhere. Mayapur Leela is going on somewhere. Because these are spiritual dhams which came down to this earth and they have gone back again. You follow? And Vrindavan Dham is also there. Did you know Golok Vrindavan is in 3 parts? Malum hai na? Okay. So which part you want to go? Whichever Krishna takes. That's a perfect answer. So there Prabhupada was in the Mayapur part. You follow? Because he's commander-in-chief of Lord Chaitanya's army. And Lord Chaitanya said, at every town and village, this holy name will be chanted. So you are supposed to do it. So Prabhupada said, no, I am not committed to do it. So please send somebody else. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you are only one because nobody else will be able to do except you. So Prabhupada replied that that's very kind of you to say so. But he's talking to Lord Chaitanya, mind you. And then finally Prabhupada agreed to come. So sometimes people are sent by God, Krishna, for specific purpose. Some devotees, very senior devotees, like that. So not everybody has fall down. They may have a fall up also. Means they are uplifted and they lift all of us. Uplift. You understand that? No? Yeah, there is a gentleman at the back. This will be the last question. I'm told I have to finish at 10 o'clock.
Sorry, Prabhuji. Thank you for the nice class. You mentioned that Das is our most exalted and eternal title. But certainly we carry some material designations and we have to act accordingly because, you know, Das and Das may not be the right philosophy in every office at every designation. So we might have to be angry or, you know, deal with subordinates or deal with peers in a different mood. But how to remember that time that actually I am Das? Because, you know, acting like Das at all the places may not be doing justice to the designation. So it may not be the right thing to do all the time. But when you do deal with people according to your designation, how do you still keep that mood of Das while still acting in a duplicate manner? You know, keep duplicacy that I am Das, but actually I am not Das at this point of time. So something like that.
See, you have to only think of the Acharyas and your Guru Maharaj. For instance, I'll give you a simple example. I have personally seen Prabhupada. Whenever anybody would say, you know, that Prabhupada, you have done such great things, you built such beautiful temples and so on, Prabhupada would immediately hang his head down and say, no, it was not me. My Guru Maharaj is doing things. And Krishna is giving all these wonderful devotees from all over the world have come here and they are doing it. I am just the servant of everyone. So that was his humbleness, correct? Now, at the same time, one devotee, disciple of his in Hyderabad, I know that, was the temple president, and after a meal, prasadam, everything, distribution, they did not clean the temple properly. You know this incident? So, he was a good friend of mine. So, actually he was a Parsi originally. And he told me this story. And so when Prabhupada was walking through, he said, why is this temple so dirty? Why have you not cleaned it properly after prasadam is distributed? So that is a service. Das, Prabhupada himself used to say, I am the servant of my disciples. But when a person is not doing his duty properly, you are supposed to remind him, no? So he told that gentleman, the devotee, very senior devotee, he was a sannyasi actually. And he was trying to clean it with a knife. And Prabhupada said, why don't you slit your throat with your knife? Oh my God. He used such a strong language that you are not fit to be a president of this temple. If you keep this place so unclean. I mean, that fellow, the point is that Prabhupada wanted to impress upon him so strongly that cleanliness is next to godliness, that you must keep things absolutely clean under any circumstances. Even if it's too late at night. Don't go to sleep, but first clean and then go to sleep. You follow? One has to balance also that what will be the effect of that. It was so strongly impressed upon that gentleman. Thereafter, everything was kept spotlessly clean. Okay. Hare Krishna. Jai Radhe Radhe.